Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the Rubbin Racing Podcast with Spider, with Large, with Moonhead, an undisclosed location. Quiggs is at No Kings Rally, and Jacob is behind the ones and twos. This episode is brought to you by Body Armor Flash IV. Flash IV delivers faster, longer-lasting hydration with over 2,000 milligrams of electrolytes and no artificial dyes, flavors, or sweeteners like those other drinks. So whether you're training, traveling, or just feeling the heat, work hard. Hydrate Hard with Body Armor Flash IV and grab yours today at your local 7-Eleven convenience store. I can tell you right now, I have a 15-year-old daughter who's been homesick for 2 days with a stomach thing, and the only thing she's been able to tolerate is Flash IV. It's turned into one of those things that's become like a remedy in my household. So you can use it when you're hot, you can use it when you're sick, or you can use it when you just need something delicious to have in your body. Body Armor Flash IV is the one that I go to. I hope you guys will do it too. Head to 7-Eleven right now and pick some up. And also by Blue Chew. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. It's not sex anymore. It's a superhero origin story. The Girthinator rises, coming near you. Guys, this isn't just about performance. It's about legacy or third legacy. Give her group chat something to talk about. You know, when you lay it down, you're talking about how it gets up. Nothing makes you more of a legend than a little Blue Chew. Discover your options at bluechew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. As always, get your first month of Blue Chew free. Just use promo code Rubbin at checkout and pay $5 for shipping. That's it. Join Blue Chew's mission to upgrade humanity one thrust at a time. Head to bluechew.com for details and safety info. And a big thanks to Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. And away we go. We got Briscoe on. Isn't that fucking nice?
That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll probably, I mean, we'll talk about it. So for people who don't know, we're taping this on a Thursday. It drops on a Friday. Yesterday, late afternoon, Briscoe carved out probably about 20 or 25 minutes for us during like a car wash. I got in my car today. He was doing something on Sirius Radio. I mean, the guy really is pressing the flesh when he should be in a sim. It's very, very irresponsible of him now that I'm thinking about it, but one of our favorite people. Spider, I know that we're going to mention it during the call with Briscoe, but I'll mention it right from the beginning too. ChaseBriscoe.com. Spider already took a chance, and he took a chance to be on the car, the one that he's running in the Chili Bowl. So if you are one of those people that always wanted to sponsor a car or be part of a team that sponsors a car and you just can't afford to because it's very fucking expensive, you can take a chance. I think it's $350. You'll get like a signed something and a hat and a shirt and all that stuff. And you'll be entered into, I believe, one of 7 people, 6 stickers that would be put on the car, and then 1 major paint scheme on the car. And it can be anything you fucking want. But Chase will talk about it a little bit when he comes on. And then last night I donated to getting him out of jail for that NASCAR thing that they're doing where they take the guys all prisoners. So Rubbin Racing is definitely contributing to the Chase Briscoe Fund. I think you guys should too. And like I said, Chase is coming up in just a couple of seconds. But Talladega, great weekend in Talladega. I mean, I think I kind of miss not being there. I'd rather go to this race than the one we go to, just on the fact that it seemed like the weather was a little bit more tame. Right? They had the rain that just came at night, which seemed to not affect anybody except for SVG going into the pits. But Talladega looked like a fucking beautiful spot to be. It looked like we got some good racing. What you think of the races this week, Spider?
I thought it was awesome. You know, and I disagree with you in the sense that this race would be the one that I would rather be at. I don't think you can go wrong at Talladega, and I think every single race or every single weekend we spend there is a testament to that. Like, I can't remember a race that's disappointed me. And this week was no different. I mean, Chase Briscoe, we saw him running good, and then he got penalized on pit road, and he ended up working his way back and holding off the field when it mattered most to win. So, yeah, I thought this race was awesome. I love Talladega. And I think it's one of those things where I like it so much where it can be – it's one of those things you can enjoy in real life, which is great, and we've done numerous times, Large. But also watching on TV, to me, is – almost a better perspective, because being able to see stuff and all the different angles and the energy and the runs that are formulated is really, really cool. And I feel like it requires the TV perspective to acknowledge that. But yeah, overall, great weekend.
I will change my take then, because that's my first bad take of the day. Expect at least 6 or 7 of them. You're right.
I wasn't trying to get you this early.
No, but, you know, believe me, you have to keep me straight, or else I'll say some wacky shit. I'm out of pocket, as the kids say. But I think this weekend, then, would you agree with me? Martinsville. I'm hoping that nobody tells the crowd how cold it's going to be at fucking Martinsville once those lights come on and the sun goes down, because I'm looking at temperatures that, you know, in the day gets up somewhere in the low 60s and at night gets somewhere in the mid 30s. And that's good for the haulers. I mean, we've been in that situation a bunch of times where we show up to the race and all of a sudden, due to rain delays or just because it kind of goes from day into night, particularly with the 600, it's one of those things where like we got to go get some fucking blankets and sweatshirts, and it's always good to support your favorite driver. And there's plenty of options to do it when you're at a NASCAR track because the haulers have just about everything that you fucking need. So I'll pull back on the Talladega thing, but I'm dying to be in Martinsville in like 40 degrees, you know, in pit row, like that type of thing. That's made for a big fat old guy for me. I think you'd probably agree with that, right?
I don't know.
Really,
I
I
mean,
can't get a
it's tough.
fucking break. I can't get a
Yeah,
break.
no,
Yeah,
no wins today, Lars. I don't know.
yeah,
I'm more of a warm weather guy. I don't have to sit
yeah.
in a
That's true.
car that's 180 degrees. So, like, don't get me wrong, Nashville, we've definitely seen our fair share of
Oh,
hot races.
oof.
But yeah, I think to me, racing is synonymous with being outside, which is synonymous with good weather. Now, it obviously doesn't always go our way, but
Yeah.
I would prefer sunshine over shivers.
We haven't had a single fucking race delayed by rain. Excuse me, postponed by rain this season. After we had, you know, multiple ones in the past 2 seasons that we've had to deal with
Yeah,
being at the track
that's
for
hard to
some of them.
believe. Is that still
Crazy.
accurate?
Yeah, it's still accurate, right? I mean,
Wow.
we had a couple of delays, no doubt
Yeah.
about that. But you know, those Monday Martin conversations that we used to have, we haven't had a single one of them this season. So,
Yeah.
contrary to popular belief, God does love NASCAR. 77 lead changes, fourth of all time between 27 different drivers, third of all time. Moonhead, in your vast mind palace of Talladega races, is this one of those ones where you're like, yeah, I didn't get the fuel saving vibe that I got in past ones? What did you feel about this one?
I thought it was way better than a lot of the fuel saving ones, even though there was fuel stuff going on at the end. I think it was a step in the right direction. I'd like to see the third lane work more.
Yeah.
But I think that's just a car thing. I don't think that's anything really to do with fuel. But overall, I liked it. It didn't feel like they were just riding around the whole time, and that was nice.
I think we talk about the Gluck poll a lot, and I mean, how great is that for Gluck too? Like on top of being a guy who I guess does some very good work, he certainly works extremely hard and has a huge following. He's become the guy that he's become like the Zaggett's guide of NASCAR races with this, you know, with the poll that he does. And I think this one only got into either the mid or low 70s, but I think that can be explained away. Every time Chase Elliott has a car problem or gets out of a race, that sort of dings the race for at least like 5 or 10 points. So if you're just going by that, you might not be seeing the whole story. I thought we got some very good racing this week, and I'm hoping that it continues next week into Martinsville because I'm excited about the whole fucking thing. It started with trucks. We got Gio Ruggiero gets his first win, and his Tricon Garage teammate Corey Heim finishes P2. Big shout out to Corey Heim Time, for coming on the show last week for the first time. Like he had said to me, I was waiting for you guys to ask me to come on. You know, like we had to pass him a note in gym class and say, will you join us? Yes or no. But I was really glad that I had the kid on. He seems like one of those kids that we can have on a bunch of times. And like we've mentioned multiple times in this show, he's the fucking future of the sport. Him and Connor Zilic are going to carry this thing on his back with a very select few other names that aren't up in the big leagues just yet. And I think it's going to be cool if we can get Corey in and out. But I will tell you, at the end of our interview with Chase Briscoe, I think one of the best ideas for us to have a regular guest, and it's not Chase Briscoe, came up in the interview. I'm not going to mention it now, Spider, but I think you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
And yeah, and just the name of the segment is a little bit not good for you because you're not mentioning the segment name, which will be perfect. Not perfect because you're not there, but you'll see what we're talking about in just a little bit. But congratulations to Gio Ruggiero. So now going into Martinsville, Daniel Hemrick and Enfinger are in must-win situations to make it to Phoenix. Majeski and Riggs could still point their way in. So still a race there to watch tonight, actually. Tonight the trucks are running. Xfinity, Austin Hill sweeps the stages and gets another win on a super speedway. That gives him 10 wins at drafting tracks, having already eclipsed the previous record by Dale Earnhardt and Tony Stewart, who each had 8, and he celebrates by flipping off the crowd. I know that we have the benefit of taping late in the week. I was hoping that NASCAR wasn't going to fucking find this guy. I was just hoping that they wouldn't, and they didn't, and I'm kind of glad about it. Are you cool with the throwing of the bird and stuff like that And are you cool with a guy like Austin Hill who pisses a lot of people off? He's not a well-loved guy. I don't think he pushes a lot of merch. How do you feel about that Austin Hill out the window with the middle finger?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's on brand. He's
Mhm.
kind of a heel, Austin heel, we've called him
Yeah,
previously on the show.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it's that surprising. If this were like Chase Elliott going out there and giving a middle finger to the crowd, I think this would be a crazy, different conversation. But to me, I'm cool with him not getting penalized. I've long been of the opinion, like, let these drivers kind of do what they want when they win. Now, obviously, that's within reason, but I don't
Mhm.
think this was that unreasonable. So yeah, sure. Now I don't know how good of a look it is to just be flipping off the fans, but I feel like every sport, you see guys in baseball warming up on the on deck circle, a drunk guy with like their boss's tickets chirp them, and
Yeah.
there's a little spat, or like courtside at WNBA, like this happens. So yeah, I don't know. I would say in the other leagues, typically, I feel like those players are reprimanded, so it is a little bit surprising from that angle that he's not being. But at the same time, I don't really care. I don't think it's that big of a deal. This looks like someone, not to be Rico Bosco, but like this is very much a gotcha screenshot. Like, to me watching, I didn't see this. I didn't see this in real time. It wasn't a big storyline.
Right.
Someone on Twitter dug this up, I'm sure, and and tried to make it like a smoking gun style
Can we
thing.
can
So
we put this one on a t-shirt? Like,
honestly,
I
that
think
would be
this would
sick.
outsell any Austin Hill. I'm going to ask you both this. We'll go back to the t-shirt thing. Moonhead, I know that you don't mind people giving each other the bird. Like, I
Mm.
imagine that's the first thing you do when you see your grandmother after you haven't seen her. Go, hey, what's up, Granny? Go fuck yourself. Like that type
Mhm.
thing. We're not like gentle flowers here. And I don't want NASCAR to ever penalize people, like Spider had said, sort of expressing themselves, even if it's with a fuck you. But he's sort of on a double secret probation, isn't he? Like, Austin Hill is not acting like a guy that wants to play nice in the sandbox for even his sponsors' benefit. Do you think this turns him into kryptonite? And do you think that Austin Hill shouldn't have done it just because he's fucking Austin Hill, who's already been penalized and in the headlines for his antics already this season and just about every season since I started watching?
I mean, I loved it because it was specific, and the guy he flipped off
Yeah.
tweeted and said, to clarify some context to the picture, yes, he flipped us off. Yes, we did it first. Yes, we thought it was hilarious. No, he shouldn't be punished. I respect the gesture, and it adds to the needed personality the field needs. I may hate him, but I love to hate him because that's sports. So to
Yeah.
me, like, I think if I saw Junior talking about it on the download, he said, like, if he flipped the whole front stretch grandstand off while he was doing
Right.
his victory lap, that'd be one thing. But like, to me, I feel like, I mean, this is like a lifetime memory for these people who got flipped. They're always going to tell the story of the time Austin Hill flipped them off
Yeah.
back. So I think it's a good thing. I think, we want personality. We have to take the good with the bad. We got the hosts of ours, or the Graxons, or the young guys in Cup coming up. We kind of need a villain, I feel like, that actually leans into like the villain side of it, off
Well,
the track a little bit.
that's my issue with it, Moonhead. And Large brings up Denny Hamlin. Denny is different, in my opinion, because Denny leans into it. The t-shirt would have already been printed. When
Yeah.
he said, I beat your favorite driver or whatever, like, I feel like that was on sale like hours later. So yeah, I feel like Austin Hill is a little bit different in the sense where he'll do similar stuff on the track, or maybe even more egregious stuff,
Mhm.
in the sense of like being a heel. But then when you put a mic in front of his face, I feel like he's strictly business. Now, again, that might be because of how important sponsorship is in the sport, but I would like to see him lean into it a little bit more. I think that's what separates him from being the full-blown heel we see from some of the guys on the Cup level.
I one of my biggest complaints with Barstool and NASCAR is that we don't do any merch here. And I
Yeah.
think we have the opportunity to do NASCAR merch that I think would do big numbers for the NASCAR crowd and beyond, myself, NASCAR crowd, and the whole deal. I'm not, singling them out. And this would be the t-shirt that I would put out. I would put a t-shirt out that grainy picture where you can barely read Austin Hill on it. So maybe we wouldn't get sued for a copyright infringement or something like that. And I think that would outsell any other Austin Hill t-shirt in his hauler. Like, I want to do like a Connor Spillish, when him falling off the fucking hood and, almost like those are the type of things that we should be leaning into. And I really do think that they would do numbers, including this one right here. So to your point, if he decides to come out in Martinsville wearing a black cowboy hat, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I just wonder whether or not his sponsors are like, just do us a favor, just kind of drift for a couple of fucking seasons, like not a couple of seasons. Don't neuter him like they did with Ross Chastain, which we talk about after the punch. But I would think that maybe he's going to get an earful of shit from somebody, and in this case, not NASCAR. And I'm okay with it not being NASCAR. And now that I'm saying it out loud, I admire the fact that he's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I'll talk to my sponsors about it, and I'll just tell them, these guys said it. The internet doesn't provide context. That's one thing you don't get with internet. Like if I say I hate, the N-word, I think it's the worst thing that's ever happened or something like that, people will just clip me saying the N-word. That's the internet lacks that. So the fact that it was just to a select amount of people, I don't want people to know that because I want to sell this fucking t-shirt.
I don't. Like, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. George. Do you think the sponsors of Austin Hill really care? I mean, he's won 10 fucking plate races. This guy is different at these style tracks.
Yeah,
and it seems like his sponsors are super loyal to him. United Rentals and what's the other one? The Bennett Transportation, whatever it is, the blue and white one. I feel like those are consistently on his car. Like they're probably okay with the fact that he's a little bit of a liability out there sometimes. But I think on the flip side of that, there's pros and cons. He's guy that you can kind of set your watch to at Daytona or Talladega style track. So I don't know. I don't think they're probably upset as a lot of fans or the rest of the field is about Austin Hill.
Does he do shows? Has anyone ever seen him do a show like this?
I think we need to have him on. I think we said this in the past. We got to get him on.
I think it would be good for all of us. Like, I think we could create an Austin Hill kind of fan club if he was to come on and be like just that regular guy and be like to what Moonhead said. Yeah, these dudes did it. I made their year by flipping them off. I think there are a couple of things he can't explain away, by the way. He's done some scumbag shit this year, where he'd have to just kind of own it. But I promise that we're obviously signed on for next season, which we're very, very happy about. And we love our sponsors as well. But I promise that next year we're going to get this son of a bitch on. I'm looking forward to it, So either way, Connor Zilic suffered damage from being caught up in a crash and finished outside the top 5 after a series record of 18 top 5s dating back to April 26th. I read that twice too. April 26th was the last time this fucking kid finished outside of the top 5. He's just very fucking good.
Insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. Talladega Super Speedway year-over-year viewership. It looks like they're down about 500,000 viewers on NBC from last year, but they're ahead of where they were the year before. So whether or not last year was an anomaly, it remains to be seen. But we lost some grounds year over year. Seems that if you look out a little bit more than year over year, they did okay with Talladega. So however you want to look at it, it doesn't look overly good for the broadcast numbers. And that seems to just be what I say to people every fucking week. It's starting to get frustrating. So hopefully we can pick up a little bit of steam with Martinsville this week and then blow it out in Phoenix before we go on hiatus. I want to talk about I'm going to talk about 2 ties in this one. Did you see what Ty Dillon did coming out of the pit box where he pushed the tire and then the guy was in the wheel well? I'm telling you, I don't think that NBC did a great job with its coverage of Talladega. There was a couple of things that we weren't able to see. And there are a couple of things that they blew past that I would have liked to have seen a little bit more. But I was able to see the Ty Dillon thing. That crew member kind of got pushed into the wheel well. And I was like, Jesus Christ, that guy could have broke his fucking neck easily. And I like a little bit of, drama and whatnot, but that seemed just damn dangerous. In the past couple of weeks, has Ty Dillon just absolutely erased all the goodwill that he had coming out of that mid-season bracket challenge where people were like, we had him on the show and, I think it was good for his merch and all this kind of stuff, metrics that this guy does. It seems like he's just giving that shit up. just about every week after what had happened with Byron, with him kind of not signaling, going to the pit, and then they fire the fucking spotter about it. And now he takes a crew member and almost snaps his neck inside of a wheel well. And I'm speaking a little bit superlatives, but whatever the fuck it is. How do you feel about what's going on with Ty Dillon as we go into the end of the season?
Yeah, I don't love it. I mean, I obviously kind of warmed up to Ty Dillon over his successful run in the bracket challenge.
Sure.
Call me a fair weather fan, whatever you want. I thought it was a great story. And it does suck. Yeah, the last couple of weeks seeing stuff, his name in the news for the wrong reasons, it's definitely unfortunate to see. I would say probably, yeah, his reputation has been damaged since the bracket challenge. Unfortunately, just because obviously what's happened the last 2 weeks. Now, my takeaway from this move, what happened this Sunday at Talladega, though, was just how badass these pit guys are. The tire changer, as he's getting pushed around, like doesn't even flinch, doesn't even really react. His head is inside the wheel well the entire time. He just stays locked in despite dealing with this. So yeah, it sucks for Ty Dillon. My takeaway is great showing by Josh Berry's pit crew in the name of adversity. They did a great job. So yeah.
Push him up into the wheel well. How do you feel about it? Who's to blame there? I think somebody tweeted out right afterwards, is the spotter going to get fired again? And that somebody might have been Moonhead. How do you feel about that, Moonhead? How'd you feel about when you saw that kind of materialize?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like it when Gibbs did whatever he did at Sonoma this year. And I didn't like, I hate seeing crew guys get hit. I mean, they've got their job to do, but they don't deserve to be run over. So I'm sure, if we watch the whole context of everything, I'm sure the 21 was inconveniencing Ty. I would bet it may not have been the first time they had done that or something, and Ty had just had enough. And I don't think Ty is some raging maniac or something. I don't think he realized really the full situation. So I think honestly, this probably is a situation where it falls on crew chief on the box or spotter up on the stand to let him know, like, hey, there's a guy laying there. When you peel out of this thing, don't take him out. So it's bad. I don't know. They need to figure it out. I feel like everybody calls for penalties with a lot of stuff, and then people do shit like this on pit road and nobody seems to care. Like, I feel like, I saw more people advocating for Austin Hill to get penalized for flipping off a fan than Ty Dillon for damn near running a guy over. So I don't know. I think they need to do something with that, because I do feel like pit road has been really dangerous this year. I think there's been a lot of close calls and a lot of crazy shit happening down there. So if there's anywhere they need to get them back in line, I feel like it's probably on pit road.
Large brought that up a couple of weeks ago, and the fact that this year there's just seemingly so many incidents involving pit crew members on pit road this year, and it is weird. I don't know. I do kind of tend to agree with you, Moonhead, though. It seems like something they should probably try to start penalizing just to prevent less and less of.
I think it's a very difficult job for NASCAR to keep a safe environment in every, like AJ Allmendinger kind of laying out on the blacktop for a minute before somebody got to him. People are like, that's egregious and it's unacceptable. It's also a super speedway. Like, you got to get around to fucking where he is and whatnot. It's seemingly an impossible and sometimes a thankless job. But like particularly the safety crew does the best job they can from getting these guys out of some fucking gnarly circumstances. But if we can avoid some of those circumstances by maybe revamping, but then you're going to go into breaking some degree of tradition and stuff of how these pit boxes are. But there is something that needs to be done, because again, that guy could have been fucking stuffed into that wheel well like they tried to stuff me into that Dale Earnhardt Jr. car when we went down to do that test ride. Remember that? I can tell you how fucking that almost broke my neck. Imagine what that would have done to that fucking poor
I think we need to run it back, Large. Your skinny ass is fitting in there now.
I'm so fucking ready. It's the only thing. I have a picture of me in that car on my fucking mirror every day. Like when Rocky went up to Russia to train and he finally like grabbed Drago and took the picture down, that's me with Dale Jr. So anytime you want to run that back, Dale, I'm fucking here for it.
I know Junior's listening, so we'll have to arrange that.
Listens religiously. By the way, I was doing some food content real quick with Biz from Spit and Chiclet. Paul Bisonet. And he was like, Large, I got to get to a fucking NASCAR race. The guy he hosts it with, not Wit, that guy Yans. He was like, he's a big NASCAR fan. We both love to go to a race. Yeah,
I would love to get him. I've long talked about getting both Biz and Wit. You know who actually who's been telling me that is Alex from Front Row Motorsports. He does all the driver partnerships and kind of manages Noah, Todd, and Zane. And he hit me up, and when last time I saw him at the track, he's like, "We got to get Biz and Wit to a race." And then he actually texted me a couple days ago. He wants to have Zane, Todd, and Noah at the Gargoyles. I forget what city it is.
Yeah, so they're part owner of the Gargoyles, I think, and
It's
Whit
an
was
AHL
explained to me.
team.
Yeah, very small percentage. It's not like, they're not whatever Stevie Cohen with the Mets,
Right.
but I think they would love that type of exposure. We'd have to go. I mean, that's the only thing that I'm afraid of, Spider.
Well,
Front
they're
row,
going.
I want to go to the fucking thing. I want a Gargoyles fucking jersey or whatever the hell it is. And I think that having and for people who don't know who Paul Bissonnette is, he's a fucking wild man. And he's a, former NHL goon who has the biggest hockey podcast in the world. He went viral again last year for defending some guy's honor in the parking lot of a Houston's, where he took on like 8 drunk guys and got his fucking face pushed in. He's just a great guy. He's and he does a lot of stuff with TNT. So I think there are some opportunities there. I actually spoke to MB about it last night at the upfronts. So hopefully we can get something there. By the way, who love fucking Biz is Moon.
Oh,
Moon
yeah,
and
those
Biz in a
guys.
fucking hockey tonk or some shit. Blow up the fucking world.
So Zane, Noah, and Todd will be doing the puck drop at the Gargoyles game tonight, Friday night, when you're listening to this. So if you're in that area, feel free to go support the boys. I did see they were actually Zane and Noah were at the Nashville Predators game with Ricky Stenhouse.
Yeah,
so good to see these guys getting out on the Jumbotron and a little bit more exposure for our drivers. I think it's good for the sport.
Yeah. So back to Talladega, Hosvar, only Chevy in the top 10, and for various reasons, with Byron taking a hard left when he shouldn't have, and Larson running out of gas. Let's talk about the other Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs wins stage 1, and then he gets the best teammate award for pushing Briscoe at the end. So we know Briscoe's take on this because Spider is going to ask him about it, so you can get his take on it. How's that for a small redemption story? Like I told you how Ty Dillon may be losing some of the goodwill that he had from midseason. Is Ty Gibbs now gaining that back for some of the goodwill that he probably lost over the past couple of weeks, because he's been a little bit standoffish in news conferences and stuff like that. So the media hasn't considered him a darling. How do you think this changes his perception going into these final 2 weeks?
I'll tell you what, I'm of the opinion that this is a cheat code if Ty Gibbs is trying to do like rehabilitation in terms of reputation.
Yeah.
If you want goodwill in the sport, help Chase Briscoe. I think Chase Briscoe is one of the easiest guys to root for in the entire sport. He doesn't have enemies. Everyone pretty much likes him. He's, everyone's happy and celebrates his success when he wins like he did. And for Ty Gibbs to have a part in that, I think that's a massive, massive thing. We haven't seen Ty Gibbs be as competitive as we might have predicted earlier this season. But to me, this is the kind of role he should be playing down the stretch. You have 3 of your 4 cars in the potential to win the championship. And Ty Gibbs, not only competitive, winning stage 1 on his own, but down at the end of the race, pushing his teammates to a victory. I think this is great from Ty. I love the move. It showed what he was capable of, not only with the stage win, but also the push. So, yeah, love it from Ty Gibbs.
Are you totally changed your mind on Ty Gibbs after this incident, Moonhead? Or is it still wait and see?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll be buying a T-shirt anytime soon, but I do think that the meetings at JGR are working, because they seem to be firing on all cylinders. And Ty was a very good teammate on that last lap. He could have been selfish and forced the issue for himself, probably in some situations. And he was a company guy right there. So
yeah,
and Denny said his name's on the building. It looked like he was driving like someone with their name on the building and was actually being a good teammate. So I think that'll be good going forward.
Yeah, and again, like he's searching for that elusive first win. And Chase had said on many outlets that if he didn't win that race, coming in P2 was still fine with him. From a points perspective, he would have been just fine. Obviously, he appreciates having the win more than anything else. But so yeah, I thought it was a pretty good time to become unselfish on Ty Gibbs's end. So I applaud him for that. But at the end of the day, Briscoe, look at this season: 15 top 5, 7 poles, and 3 wins and a championship 4 appearance. I didn't have that on my card. I didn't have Chase Briscoe having this type of success. And again, we glaze the guy all the time. I love the fucking guy. 15 top fives, 7 poles. He sat on more poles than my fucking wife in college, and 3 wins with a fucking championship 4 appearance. God bless him.
Yeah, he's definitely over exceeded expectations. I think if you polled everyone, I think they would be in agreement, in unison.
Yeah. Apologies to my wife. Headlines. You know how I love when it comes together, how I got catfished the other day because I love the whole idea of Carson Hocevar buying a Chili's. I thought that it was one of those marketing things. I love this Krispy Kreme thing. Krispy Kreme is sponsoring the celebratory Burnout Donuts. When they start doing donuts on the fucking Burnout, they're going to put their name on that. Krispy Kreme bought a package in which NASCAR and its Xfinity Series broadcast partner, the CW, called out the donut brand as presenting the donut burnout that the winning driver does after a race. I don't want everything in NASCAR to have a presenting sponsor. Like when you do a podcast, you want every one of your, segments to have a presenting sponsor. And we're lucky enough to have that. You're going to hear a couple of them before we're done today. But I don't want everything to necessarily have a presenting sponsor. But if the donuts that these guys pull after they win is sponsored by Krispy Kreme, can you think of a fucking better idea than that? That just seems very, very organic to me, right?
Yeah, I would say donuts and organic don't belong in the same sentence. But no, this is a home run, Large. This is a home run. You're right. A lot of times I feel like the NASCAR sponsorship, and I know that's what the sport is built on, it just seems so in your face a lot of times. So seeing something like this that's just a natural fit just makes it so much more organic, like you said. And I think it's a home run. I think it's great. Now, I am a little concerned. What happens if it's like fuel mileage race or someone's out of gas and they can't do the burnout? Is Krispy Kreme going to be like disappointed? Like, do the burnout. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Like,
did they have the backup? Did they have the pace car guy go out? Throw him a 50, get the fuck out there and do one.
And they should have it like what's the at the Indy 500? Like you can pick the different kinds of milk. Like you should be able to put in what kind of donut you want.
Yeah, no, I think it's good, and I think that it's good that they're doing it with Xfinity too, or O'Reilly Auto Parts in just a couple of months. So I think that this is one of those things that should matter. How do you feel about Krispy Kreme, Moon? Is it one of those things where you see the lights on and you got to go?
Oh yeah. Okay. Anytime I pass it with the light on, I'm pulling in there.
They should have
go ahead.
They should have a Krispy Kreme truck with like the hot. You know how they have the little sign when it's hot and fresh or whatever, the little light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they should pull that out onto the track and just drive it into like victory lane. Like that would be cool.
There used to be a Krispy Kreme, Gray Galding, who I don't think races anymore. He tore up a lot of shit. He was kind of a menace, but he drove the Krispy Kreme car back in the day and like the K&N and the truck. He moved up to trucks for a little bit, but he didn't make many friends. But I think he races Xfinity from time to time, but he lost.
This is Zane's brother-in-law, right? Zane Smith.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I don't follow that the family tree side of it.
The wives and girlfriends side of things.
But maybe. But yeah, the Krispy Kreme car got a lot of TV time back in the day.
For the wrong reasons.
I should know that. I follow Zane's wife on Instagram intently sometimes. That's all I'm going to say about that because I'm friendly with Zane. Krispy Kreme, by the way, first time I ever went. I was probably the last person on this podcast to try Krispy Kreme. It just wasn't popular up here as it was in other places. I had my family in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, coming back from fucking Dollywood. We had a full day in Dollywood, and as we're driving back to Gatlinburg, we had like one of those little cabins rented. The fucking light goes on, and I'd never been there before. We went in there, and I said, I've never been here before. Can I get like 2 donuts? And the woman goes, sugar, 2 donuts just going to make you mad. And I was like, holy shit. And so I did like the 13 or whatever. They give you the baker's dozen. And I went through those things like I was popping aspirin. So I'm fucking on board with anything that they're doing, especially if we get to a track and they give us some hot donuts.
Yeah, if you're ever back in Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, Tennessee area, make sure you stop off at BJ McLeod's Mountain Coaster.
Bang! Look at that. That's the Krispy Kreme burnout donut stuff that NASCAR is looking for. The way you dropped it, and by the way, that's not a paid advertisement.
No,
we just like the cut of
I actually
BJ's
feel
jib.
bad. BJ invited us out there for the grand opening. I couldn't make it, so now I feel inclined to give him a free ad.
Every time I mention Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg, we're gonna give BJ a shout out. Virtual drive-through San Diego course. I had gone. Did anyone do that?
Yeah, this was awesome.
It's fucking cool as shit. I know it's going to look different. Like on some parts of the track, there's like a lone set of stands that looks like it only sits like 30 or 40 people. I'm like, what the fuck is that doing there? So I know that it's going to fill in a little bit more, but go on to whatever social media platform you like and do the virtual drive-through of the Naval Base Coronado Street Course, which is going to be 16 turns, a total of 3.4 miles. Turn 5 is between the docking location of 2 fucking aircraft carrier. And they are impressive even on this mock-up. And then turn 14 is near the north end of a runway where they're going to have, you know, active military, not turned on, obviously, but active military aircraft and whatnot there. There's another turn, which looks like it's going to send you right into the fucking Pacific Ocean. Somebody had mocked up Finding Nemechek, and they had like, you know, John Hunter's car like off the side of the fucking thing. This thing looks... I really am looking forward to going to this. I hope it's not a logistical shit show getting in and out of there, but even if it is, I think that steak's going to be worth the sizzle because this thing fucking looks great. Don't you think?
This looked awesome. I do say I was watching the drive-through, and there's one spot in particular where I want to watch from. I think and we often talk about how road courses or street courses, a lot of times the perspective is a little bit tough because of there's so many turns, in this case 16. To me, the spot that you're going to want to watch this race from is on one of those 2 aircraft carriers in the turn 5 section. I don't know. And again, this was like kind of a 3D rendering. Obviously, they didn't have the real course built out. It was not a true video of what it's going to look like. But if the scale is accurate, being able to watch from up there on those aircraft carriers, and you're going to be able to see multiple turns in a big perspective of the track. And I think that would be awesome. I think that would be one of the coolest kind of unique witnessing perspectives in the entire sports. I know a couple of years ago, college basketball, they did a basketball game on an aircraft carrier, and I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. I can't imagine how cool it's going to be watching the race from the aircraft carrier. And I think Coronado is a great kind of predecessor to the Chicago street race. I'm really looking forward to this.
Me too. Moonhead, how excited would you be if you grabbed a lawn chair alongside me and Spider and sat on the deck of a fucking Air Force carrier, an aircraft carrier, and just watched the race? Or is this the opposite? Like it's you know, because I tend to be like a cat with the laser pointer whenever they put this shit in front of me or a piece of string. Is this gimmicky, or is this something that's just flat out fucking cool?
I think it's cool. I mean, I really do. I don't think, you know, I think it's awesome. I'd love to see them keep rotating this. I hate to see the Chicago street course go. I had a lot of fun there last year, but with Chicagoland, I guess filling that void, I like this. I don't think that they could get away with shutting down a Navy base every year necessarily and doing this, but I'm all for going to cool places like this. As long as, I mean, don't completely abandon. I mean, if we start, you know, getting rid of Bristol and Atlanta to go race on Air Force bases and shit, like I'd be mad. But I think one race a year doing stuff like this, it's awesome. And I think it's going to look cool. I think the weather should be good. I know NASCAR coming to town will be the test, but I think it's going to be a very cool, from an aesthetic perspective, as well as the racing. I think, you know, doing the virtual track, the track actually looks really cool. So I think so far it gets 2 thumbs up for me, but we'll have to see how it races.
Spider, I'm gonna mention this even though we haven't listened to the interview yet. Briscoe brings up a point in our interview where he said, "Large, all I could think about was which I mean apparently I play this narrative correctly." He's like, "I was watching the walkthrough of that, and all I could think about is how pissed you would be, meaning me, when a guy from New Zealand wins on that track that's so fucking patriotic." And that burnt a hole in my stomach when he mentioned it, because I didn't think about it before he said it. And now I'm thinking, but what a hero arc that would be for Connor Zilic to win one for fucking America by sending that Kiwi into the fucking stands off of turn 15.
I kind of like
putting
I
him
like
into the
this
fucking
storyline.
water, right? Put that Kiwi back on the fucking beach where he can't, no, you know what I'm saying? But that's a storyline that I'm looking forward to doing. You know, it's all a joke. I love Shane Van Gisbergen, but I want to play that shit up like you fucking read about. So I'm really looking forward to that. A couple of guys got some seats this week. Silly season has been so less silly than it was last season. And next season, as all these contracts are rolling off, we're supposed to have one of those silly seasons that might even start in February. But for this season, we haven't had much. This week, you had a couple of announcements. Zane Smith had signed a multi-year extension with Front Row Motorsports, and I love that move. I'm telling you, every time I bet Zane Smith in the top 10, I don't do it often, but every time I do, I hit. Like Zane Smith is one of those guys where as I follow his career, I think he's a good little wheelman. I shouldn't say little because that's deprecating, but I like Zane Smith. I'm very, very happy that he got it. Raja Karuth is going to be part-time in the 88 for Junior Motorsports, and which means that JRM is going to have 2 full-time drivers and then 2 other cars that won't be eligible for the Drivers' Championship. So it's a little bit, I don't know, weird for me to see that, but it's nice to see that Raja is getting his shot and to be in some quality equipment. But the biggest and the most expected of the announcements was Daniel gets to jump into the 7 for Spire after it was announced that Justin Haley would not be returning after the 2025 season. So I really can't ask you guys the same question that we had last week when we all kind of knew that it was going to be Daniel jumping in this ride. But I can ask you the question, since Daniel is on a 1-year deal, I think common knowledge or whatever most people are thinking that if Daniel doesn't really win this year, and with the history of how they treat drivers in the 7, it could be a one and done for Daniel. And people are saying that he's keeping the seat warm for Kyle Busch. So that's the first thing I want to ask you guys about. The second thing I want to ask you guys about, will there be some sort of uncomfortableness in the fucking drivers meeting when his teammates now, one of them called his home country a shithole and the other one was fucking on his back when he fought him in 2019, right? So McDowell and Hocevar have some smoke potentially with Daniel Suarez, or is it all fucking water under the bridge? You know what I mean? Like, because Hocevar can embrace that and be like, hey, you know, from a guy who came from a shithole, you want to be good. And, you know, maybe McDowell says, you know, my back finally, if you want to go for round 2, how do you think that's going to be all the way around? Is he saving it for Kyle Busch, Hocevar, and McDowell? Spider, go.
That's interesting. You know, I haven't thought about that, especially given the Hocevar comments in the past. I think they'll be fine. You know, I look at Hocevar and comments that he's made in the past. He said he's not really there to make friends. And I think it's kind of the same way with his teammates, that they're teammates and not his friends. So not that that's bad, but I think Hocevar is a little bit more like black and white about things. So I don't know.
He's apologized too. I mean, he's done his penance for it.
Yeah, like
so
I don't think they're not going to have beef. I don't think they're going to have beef. If anything, like you said, there will be water under the bridge. They will talk about it if it's even necessary. I'm not sure it is. And they'll move on. And I'm excited. I think this lineup will be good for Spire. In terms of keeping a seat warm for Kyle Busch, I really have no idea. I think it's too soon to speak on that. And I'm not sure if that would even be an upgrade. You know, we've seen not Hocevar. We've seen LaJoy struggle in the 7. We saw Justin Haley struggle in the 7 this year. And who's to say, you know, Daniel Suarez doesn't do the same next year? And again, you mentioned it's only a 1-year contract. I said last week, I think these guys need to be given longer than just a year contract for that transition period to find success. So I'm not super, my expectations for Suarez, are not super high. And I'm remaining a little bit concerned that Spire might show him the door after 1 year. But I don't think that's like some grandiose keeping Kyle Busch in the wings theory. I think that's maybe they're going to go for the best available driver whenever they make a driver decision. In this case, they decided that Haley was no longer their guy. They went with the best driver available. And in my opinion, that was Daniel Suarez in terms of a sponsorship experience, all of those things. And, you know, maybe that will be Kyle Busch after a year, but I'm not going to sit here and say that I believe that right now.
He has a couple of wins. He brings sponsorship. Next year, like I said, is going to be a wacky one with contracts rolling off. So I guess the 1-year thing is what Spire is doing just to protect their own options.
Yeah,
Daniel
I mean,
seems very excited. He's like, this is the team that, and of course you have to say that when somebody hires you, but it seemed like he was almost making Trackhouse-ish like comments about how this is the team that he's most excited and seems like it's going to have the most growth. If he wins one race next year with Spire and they still were to replace him with somebody like Kyle Busch, and maybe Kyle Busch doesn't do as well in the following year, they'll get a lot of shit for that too. So, I mean, and I'm being silly with the Hocevar and McDowell thing because I like being silly. But do you see any kind of problems with this transition, Moonhead? Do you see any problems with Daniel Suarez getting there? And how do you think that he'll do? And do you think it will be talking at this exact time, or maybe even earlier in the season next year, mentioning Kyle Busch to the 7, Kyle Busch to the 7, Kyle Busch to the 7?
I'd be shocked if Kyle Busch goes to the 7 personally, just because the 7 has, like Spider said, has not been good. I mean, we've seen it with LaJoy, we've seen it with Haley. Obviously, time will tell with Suarez, but to me, looking at LaJoy, he was an experienced driver. Haley's got a lot of talent. Suarez has a lot of talent. I think that it's a personnel thing. Like I think that they've got to get a team around the driver and build from the ground up instead of doing all these changes where they give LaJoy the boot and then Rodney Childers comes in and he gets out of town because I guess whatever he didn't like what he saw or what he was dealing with. So he gets out of town and then they're back to square one. And now Haley gets the boot and Suarez is coming in. To me, I don't think you can build a team that way, especially when you've only got one of your 3 cars that's really running good. And I think a lot of that is just, Hocevar overperforming. And I do think he has a very good crew chief and they have a very good relationship with that whole 77 team. But I think the 7, it needs a complete overhaul because, I mean, to me, it seems cursed. Like it seems like it is just destined to fail. Like no matter what, even when things look like they're going good, something happens. So I think they need to rebuild the team from the ground up. I think luckily Suarez is a great guy and great candidate to lead that charge. So we'll have to see where they're at in a year.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see that too. It's just when you do mention LaJoy, Haley, and Suarez, I still think that it's a gigantic upgrade that could make up for some bad equipment or other kind of inconsistencies with Kyle Busch, but that wasn't the case with the 8, right? I mean, he's underperformed what Tyler Reddick did in that same equipment just a year before he'd gotten there. So maybe he's washed. Daytona is moving on. No, he's not washed. Daytona is moving its schedule in 2027 to accommodate something called the Super Bowl. It's going to move. Super Bowl is moving to President's Weekend in 2027. And as a result, Daytona is going to move to the week after, which is going to be the 21st of February, 2027. So NASCAR is going to probably have to do away with one of their off weeks or maybe try to run a midweek race or one of those other things that they do. How do we feel about this? This seems to be a big talking point with people saying, well, what does it do to the Clash? It just moves the fucking Clash. Can we do Daytona earlier in the day on the same day as the Super Bowl, since the Super Bowl doesn't kick off normally till about 6:30 or so? How do you guys feel about the big brother, the NFL, kind of flexing its muscles and essentially taking over President's Day weekend, which is something people have been asking them to do? It's move it to Super Bowl Saturday, move it to President's Day weekend. Seems to be what everyone has wanted for fucking decades. And now that it's coming to fruition, how much does it fuck NASCAR?
I don't love that NASCAR got their hand forced kind of by football, but at the end of the day, NFL's bigger and they kind of have the power, and that's just how it goes. So I do think in if there's a silver lining, it's good that NASCAR is willing to accommodate and move around football. So we've talked about how football might be to blame for some of the regression in ratings that we've seen this year down the stretch. And I think it's good that NASCAR is at least kind of trying to do what they can and with what they can do in their control to rectify that. And to me, that's what this move is. So yeah, I support the move.
Yeah, I think it's not gonna affect us much, as far as going down there. I mean, we always had the opportunity to have that Monday off, which was kind of cool. But how do you feel about it, Moon? Does this change anything at all for you other than when you have to book your flights?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Nothing for me. I think It'll be interesting to see what they do with the rest of the schedule, I guess, to kind of offset the shift. But I think it's smart. You can't go head to head with the Super Bowl. I think NASCAR, honestly, I wish that they had this attitude kind of later in the year and condense the schedule in general a little bit.
Yeah.
And we've had that talk, I think, before on the show. But yeah, I'm all for it. It's not a winning battle. I mean, to me, you got to know when to run from the fight. You know what I mean? The NFL, the Super Bowl is like a 500-pound Jack Dex football player coming at you in a bar. Like, you're not going to win that fight. Like, get out of there and live to fight another day. So I think that's what they're going to do. And I think ratings would be great. Like, I think football being out of the picture, people are looking for shit to watch that time of year. And I think avoiding that is going to be a very, very big key to success on the ratings side.
I don't know if it's bots or trolls or anything. I can't believe the amount of people are like, just run Daytona that afternoon. And those are people who've never been maybe to Daytona. With the rain delay, I mean, you'll just lose everybody to the fucking Puppy Bowl, right? And the pregame stuff is watched sometimes even more than the race for a very small percentage of that demographic that you might want to steal. You're not going to steal them. That would be absolutely horrific to try to run these things on the same fucking day. And obviously NASCAR, I don't think would ever consider that because cooler heads would prevail. I'm not going to go into too many paint schemes, but I do want to point out that McDowell's running the Tide car this weekend. And I don't know, anytime somebody throws it on there, I don't care who the fuck it is. It's Ricky Rudd or whatever, all the way on up. I love seeing Tide on a car. That's one of my favorites. So be on the lookout for that, everyone who's watching the race this weekend. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. put out a tweet yesterday. I don't know if he should have put this thing out. I like Ricky a lot, but he's like, crazy to think that the guy that gave me the nickname Recky Spinhouse is on this list. And it's the list from Auto Racing Analytics of the drivers involved in the most crashes in 2025. And Ricky's name is not on that list, but Kyle Busch's is. So I think that's him obviously going after Kyle, unless somebody else has a different idea of who he's going after. Is this one of those ones where maybe Ricky should take a back seat to that? Is this one of those unnecessary ones? Because Ricky also has a very good sense of humor. Loves to get, self-deprecating and poke fun and shit. But he's also saying this about a guy that he took a poke at over at the fucking haulers. Right.
I don't know what to make of it because, like I said, I saw him and Noah Gragson earlier this season beefing on Twitter, and it turned out that they're good friends. Like I mentioned, they were just at the Nashville Preds game together. They're clearly friends. It's hard to make sense of stuff on Twitter when you can't really get a gauge for sarcasm or anything like that. But part of me is inclined to believe that he was just being like this tweet is just face value, and he's truly kind of holding a grudge against Kyle Busch from their fallout.
They're not friends. I mean, the Noah thing could have went either way. I totally get you. I know that Ricky's not going to a fucking Predators game with Kyle Busch. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole fucking thing.
Well, wasn't it when we were in Mexico City, they had them both speaking to the fans in the same room? So I don't know.
Mexican VIPs. Nobody spoke English, Spider. We went in there. They were giving away these energy drink shots. Remember that? And I felt like they had a tiny bit of opium in them. And that might have been the beginning of the end for me when it comes to my asshole. It might have been something in that thing. We went in there. It was a weird situation. And then they had Ricky and Kyle. And I think they wanted us to stand in between them in case shit got heated. And that doesn't mean anything because I'm a natural coward. But you're right. There was palpable smoke still between these guys. So when I see a tweet like this, I think he doesn't want the smoke to stop. Right? Because you don't have to send that out. I love Ricky Stenhouse. It's one of those things.
It's weird. When we were there, it seemed like they were cordial and cool and had put it behind them. And then now, I don't know. This to me leads me to believe that Ricky might not have let go of the grudge like I previously thought.
Yeah. And then, Kyle's doing boner pill ads, which is fucking weird. You think that there's something to this, Moon, or am I making it up?
I think Ricky's just being a smart ass more than anything. I think that's just his personality because I've seen plenty of appearances with them together. So I don't think there's the level of smoke that there was when he punched him in the face.
By the way, can I step away? Because when Moonhead just said that, I'm thinking about like that whole passive aggressive type shit that you can do to start smoke online. This has nothing to do with NASCAR, but Fights' response to Pat Bev. This is Barstool type shit. We have a ex-NBA player who does a podcast here with Roan, and he'd gotten into a little bit of a back and forth with two of the original dudes Kevin and Fights, and also Francis. Francis eviscerated him in a blog, but Fights had this passive aggressive clip from KFC Radio. Spider, did you see that fucking clip?
I did.
I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, Fights. I don't know. That was uncharted for Fights. I didn't really know what to make of that either. I couldn't tell if he was like talking shit about him in the most polite way either. But yeah, that beef has been
it's been fun to watch. Yeah. So if you haven't watched it, it makes fucking Ricky Stenhouse and Kyle Busch seem like a bar mitzvah. All right, so we're going to put Talladega behind us. We'll take a look at Martinsville in just a second. But before that, we have the man of the hour. We have Chase Briscoe. He's about to go 3 wide with us, and this is brought to you by Dive Bomb Industries. I'm going to use Spider as a model today. If you look over at my handsome co-host Spider right now, I think he's wearing a hat and a shirt from Dive Bomb Industries. Dive Bomb Industries gear is designed to perform in the toughest conditions, and they make products for the outdoorsman, the hunter, and the sportsman, and also somebody who just wants to look good in golf polos and everyday wear. If you're going to go hunting and you want to go to one of these like bargain basement hunting places just to get whatever your gear is because you're only going to do it once, God bless you. But if you want something that's going to keep you warm, keep you fucking dry, and look good, I'm telling you, Dive Bomb Industries is the place to go. And then on top of all that stuff, if you got anybody that you need to buy for Christmas or fucking Father's Day or a birthday, take a look at it. I wouldn't have used Dive Bomb until I met those guys. I would never have fucking heard of them just because of the way that I'm, not that outdoorsy. I wear their shit all the fucking time. So go and do it. Check it out. Check them out at divebombindustries.com. and use the code RUBBIN15, RUBBIN 15, RUBBIN 15 at checkout, and you'll get some sort of discount. They're good people. Everything is done here in the USA. I've been out to their factory, and they're the type of people that I think you want to support, and they make the type of equipment, gear, clothes that you'll want to wear and use. So Dive Bomb Industries, we appreciate your continued support. Go check them out now at Dive Bomb Industries. And with that, let's talk to our good friend Chase Briscoe. Hey, everybody, welcome on back. As promised, we got Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe, I would tell you right now, Spider, we were sitting down watching it with Annie and Bridge, and I texted him after he won. I don't do that. I don't fucking do that. I have a bunch of drivers' numbers just from, our relationship with them and setting stuff up, but I typically won't bother people. I just wouldn't. If I see him on the track, I texted Chase as soon as, imagine if that prick didn't text me back. Imagine, I would never be telling this story. I'd be telling the story in a total different way, but obviously he'd give me back. I'd appreciate it, buddy. I don't mean to fanboy about that, Chase, but this is Chase Briscoe. He's the championship Ford driver, one of many for Joe Gibbs Racing, and we couldn't be fucking happier. How you doing right now, Chase? How's everything going?
I'm doing good. I'm trying to remember if I big leagued Spider or not and didn't text him back. I think I texted him back too.
No, you texted me back. I'm trying to see if you texted Large and I the same thing, if it was just a mass.
It probably was, thanks, buddy, with an exclamation point. Or is that what it was?
Let's see. I'll find it here. I'm sure that's what it was. I feel like you're a big buddy guy. Like Stephen Che in our office is a big buddy guy. Yep. Thanks, buddy. Exclamation point. Spot on.
And then he sent to me, let me just confirm that.
I'm the same way, Large, though. I'm not going to text just anyone, but Chase, I had to send him a text. I was so happy watching the end of that race.
He sent back to me, thanks, Large. You're one of the reasons that I work so hard because I love your coverage, and I think that you're the guy who covers and carries this sport, and it's a fucking travesty. He said it's a fucking travesty that it's called Rubbin is Racing with Spider and Large and not with Large and Spider. So I got a little bit more of a text than you did, Spider, as you can see, other than the generic buddy. But either way,
Large.
I know. When you got out of the car, one of the first things you did was thank God. I love when I hear that kind of stuff. Honestly, I do. I love when I hear that kind of stuff. And we've mentioned it before. You really should, Chase, because we've spoken over the past 2 seasons, and you went from being unemployed right around the time you found out you were fucking pregnant with twins to a point where I was like, Jesus Christ, what's this guy going to do? You fast forward 2 seasons later, you are outperforming, I think, almost everyone's expectations except your own, right? And you're now a championship Ford driver on the verge of winning your first NASCAR championship. At least that's what we're rooting for, and I have a small betting interest in it. How do you feel when people say a generic, oh, I got to thank God for this, versus what has happened to you over the past season and a half?
Yeah, I mean, mine's certainly, authentic as can be.
Yeah.
Just with, my whole career and just, everybody kind of knows the story of the sleeping on the couches and stuff, and just the
Mhm.
the doors that honestly had closed a lot of the time, but then also, the doors that, he had opened. It's very authentic and very real in the sense of I probably shouldn't be here. There's definitely a higher power or bigger reason why I'm here. I don't quite always understand the full story or the realm of it, but yeah, the way that I got here just doesn't happen really anymore. So yeah, I just am super appreciative of the opportunity and feel like that the Lord's placed me in my position for some reason. And yeah, so whether I win or run 38th, whatever it is. And that was honestly even my prayer on Sunday before the race and even during the race is just whatever happens, somehow let me use it to glorify you. And obviously, winning was a great way to do that. But I was okay and content at that finishing 30th and wrecked. Like there's something that he was going to use out of that. So yeah, I don't know. I just had such a peace with how Sunday was going to go, no matter what the result was. And, I don't know. I definitely, when I say it, I mean it for sure.
And you can tell that there is a genuineness about you when you do say stuff like that. But I could tell you just as genuine that even though it might have been God's plan for you to come in 38th, it was Joe Gibbs's plan for you to come in first. Joe has got to be walking around with a smile on his face every time he fucking sees you this season. Do you just get that positive vibe from him ever since you won a Pocono's first win for you this season? Correct? Yeah, Pocono's first win this season. Ever since Pocono, are you just looked upon by the boss man, the guy whose name is on the building, which we've said a couple of times this season, and he's just like, man, best decision I've ever made?
I hope he feels that way. I definitely think that whenever it got announced, there's a lot of people scratching their head and, whether it's fans or even, truthfully, probably industry people too, right? And, for Coach now to have it all kind of come to fruition, I don't know if he thought it was going to go as good as it's gone this year and, with a championship 4 berth, but certainly I would think he has to feel good about it, right? It was a huge risk. I don't know if I was just a bridge for somebody else down the road or whatnot, but yeah, it certainly worked out to, have this great first season. And, certainly the bar is going to be really high for, the remaining tenure of however long I'm here. But yeah, I would think the coach has to feel good about it. I feel like it'd kind of be like football, right? When you take some, draft pick that everybody kind of written off and they go and perform, right? It's, big deal. And yeah, I'm glad that I was able to, at least hold up my end of the deal.
How significant was Ty Gibbs in that race we saw this past Sunday? Obviously on your bumper there to finish. And then how do you feel about Denny Hamlin also punching his ticket, obviously in the championship for 2 Joe Gibbs cars? You have a teammate in the championship alongside you. What can you say about your teammates this year?
Yeah, our teammates have been great, right? Just, you kind of have to go against them every single weekend to win the race. But yeah, last weekend at Talladega, Ty is a huge reason why I won that race. With those Super Speedway races, especially when they show like the helicopter cam, like you can just see how much the momentum changes and, a guy will make a move and nobody goes with him and he instantly goes from up front to the back. And yeah, whenever I was able to make that move and I knew Ty was going to go with me, it just allows you to have so much freedom in what your decision making is. And you can be more aggressive and do things whenever you know that you're not going to get hung out. And yeah, I just had all the confidence in the world that, if I made a move and Ty was clear and not going to wreck himself, that he would go with me. And, obviously he did that. And I told him after the race, I was like, man, I owe you a ton. It's definitely going to come back full circle. Ty's got a ton of years left, way more than I do. But at some point, in our careers together, there's going to be some time where the roles are reversed, right? And, he's going to be trying to make a move and going to need somebody to go with him. And hopefully I can be there behind him to, reciprocate and, pay back what he was able to do for me this past Sunday. But yeah, the whole, Denny in the Final Four thing, I think is great for our company. Hopefully we can get Christopher in there as well. It'd be pretty cool if we could have 3 out of the 4. And honestly, I hope it is that way because as a competitor, I think naturally you have to think you're the best one, right? And whenever we go to the championship 4 race, if I'm racing 3 of my teammates, well, I know that we all have the exact same equipment. It's just going to come down to out of us 3 who can perform the best. And, if you go there with, 3 other teams or 3 other organizations, there's just a ton of question marks about, do they have better stuff? better resources, whatever. But when we're racing just JGR cars, I know they have the exact same opportunity that I have, and it just comes down to who can do it the best.
So follow-up question then. Let's say it's you, Christopher, Denny in the championship 4. Who is there a driver you would want or have a most ideal matchup versus heading into Phoenix with, rounding out the championship 4?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're all right. Like all of them are champions or been in the Final Four multiple times. So yeah, there's not any of them that are going to be easy or easier. You know, I would be lying though if I said that I hope a Penske car doesn't get in. Just
Yeah,
you know, if you look at statistics, like the last 3 years, they've been unbelievable there. And yeah, I don't know. I think whoever it is, whether it's a Hendrick or a Penske car, they're going to be really, really hard to beat. I mean, you just don't get to this point of the season without being one of those kind of elite guys. And yeah, it doesn't matter at the championship 4, all of them are going to be hard to beat.
Yeah.
And you know, my teammates are going to be hard to beat too. We're going to have to go there and win the race. So it doesn't really matter who the 4th guy is. Just have to go there and try to outrun the other 3.
How exactly, so since we're talking about teammates and whatnot, how exactly that week before Phoenix do you plan on sabotaging the other 2 cars? Because you're going to have access to them in the garage. And I would think that if you were to cut their brake lines, it would be something that would put them in danger, which is something you don't want to do. Or do you sabotage the drivers themselves, the Visine and the drink, which maybe causes them to shit a lung or something like that? Would you think that you're the type of guy that's going to sabotage their cars or actually sabotage your teammates? Which one are you choosing?
Yeah, I don't know if I would do either. Definitely not the car part, because I have no clue what I'm doing when it comes to working on them properly. And even the other part, I just don't think I got that in me. But yeah.
So then how will James Small sabotage the cars or sabotage? Talk to me about James Small, because you hear so much about him and it's always complimentary. So talk to me about him and professionally, and then also give us an idea about what it would be like to go out and have a couple of beers with him or have him on the show, which is something we're remiss in doing. We should have the guy on the show.
You definitely need like a James Small segment on the show.
Right?
It would be unbelievable. It would be X-rated instantly, or rated R, I guess, just because of the profanity and the words that come out of his mouth, every other word. But yeah, James is just, I mean, he is honestly the hardest working guy in the garage. There's nobody that, you know, crew chief wise, I feel like works harder than him. I mean, there's times he's up till 4:30 in the morning, you know, just grinding out stuff, trying to get ready for the race. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. You know, we are definitely 2 polar opposites when it comes to personality and just demeanor. You know, you guys know me, I'm pretty just laid back and easy going all the time. He is the complete opposite. He's wound up, just ready to go, high intensity all the time. And we kind of balance each other out, you know, in a sense of, you know, he is always kind of wound up and I can kind of be that calming factor. And, you know, I probably do need pushed along every now and then. So it just kind of works out to, you know, where we just kind of make this great team. But yeah, you guys definitely need a James Small segment. I mean, the amount of just one-liners and just the Australian lingo in general. There's a lot of things they say there that are not allowed to be said here in a setting. So yeah, it would be interesting for sure.
Spider, is it just too easy to say that section would be large and small?
That would be good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That
kind of writes himself.
I'm just so, it's interesting to me, Large. I know SVG's a Kiwi, but you hate a guy like SVG and then are so fascinated by James Small, who's kind of got a little bit of similar energy from where I sit at least. And it's like, it's fascinating to me.
New Zealanders are 2 different things.
No, listen, I agree. I know that those listening, if there's any listening, they're going to crucify me for putting them in the same category. But it's just funny to me that Large is such an SVG hater. I wanted to ask.
Go. I was going to try to defend myself, but I do fucking hate the guy. But again, it's that difference. It's a difference.
I was joking the other day, and I thought I actually thought about you, Large. So the San Diego race is going to be like the most American race ever. Yeah. And then SVG is like 99.9% probably going to win it.
He's going to be driving by. Like, this is the whole deal with, I have the problem with that. And I've seen the walkthrough for the San Diego course, the virtual walkthrough, and it is magnificent. It's fucking magnificent. So SVG will be he'll be 19 seconds ahead of you. You'll be P2. He'll be 19 seconds ahead of you. You won't be able to see the fucking guy. He'll be out his window taking pictures of a lot of our military vehicles and whatnot and sending them back to New Zealand to do God knows what with it. Honestly, I think the guy is a national threat and he should not be allowed to race in San Diego. I'm writing a letter. I'm glad that I'm going to be able to include you in that letter now, Chase Briscoe.
The whole Cup field would probably sign that petition.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sorry, Spider, what were you going to say?
Well, I saw a tweet from you, Chase, about the most popular driver, and you joked that not enough people misclicked on Chase Briscoe instead of Chase Elliott this year. But I think realistically, you're not that far off from becoming a legitimate threat to win that. And maybe it's due to your personality. Maybe it's due to the way you've been running on track and now your championship pursuit, whatever it may be. It's a combination of everything. But what do you think about the chances that other drivers outside of Chase Elliott have to win that trophy, and who would it be if not Chase Elliott?
Yeah, I would love to know what you're on if you think I have a legitimate shot to win that.
In my mind,
I don't know. I think that maybe there is a day where Chase Elliott doesn't win that award. I think that's probably the year after he retires. But I don't know. It is I had fun. I was surprised how much that tweet blew up that I did, the whole Go Dogs tweet and everything. And then we were talking about it on the plane back this weekend. He does that, DI9 hashtag where it looks like dig.
Yeah.
And if they posted the most popular driver like standings again, I was gonna put hashtag D19. But yeah, it just hasn't. I haven't seen it yet.
Let me ask you something. You're now going into Martinsville without a care in the world. And you may have been in this situation before in other series or throughout your career, but this is the big one. I always say the first race in the round of 8 is probably the sweetest to win because you can kick back until Phoenix. So Denny is in that position. You're in the second best position. What's the difference? And because people are like, I'm just going to run my race. I'm going to do this. But is that true? Or are you going to run this one a little bit different because you're playing with the casino's money right now?
I mean, we're definitely on house money, for this weekend. At the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily matter where we finish, right? But I mean, you still want to go and run good. Like, nobody wants to go to Phoenix and be like, man, we're coming off this great 29th place finish. Like, you want to go there and like run up front, right? And carry that confidence and momentum. So yeah, I don't think anything really changes. I do think that our preparation for Phoenix is probably a little more focused than, the other guys that aren't in it already. Like Denny obviously has been able to just really focus on Phoenix. We still have done some Martinsville stuff, but for the most part, we're thinking about Phoenix already, where the other teams, they still have to worry about Martinsville. So I think that gives us a little bit of an advantage. But yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be nice though this weekend just to go there and, go race with kind of nothing to worry about. Like, we can just go there and be aggressive and do whatever. And at the end of the day, the result doesn't necessarily matter. But yeah, we still do want to keep the momentum rolling for sure.
Beyond this season, obviously, we're pulling for you in your championship pursuit. But looking ahead outside of that, I've seen a Chili Bowl tweet you're doing, and I actually entered your raffle.
Yeah, you signed up.
$350. Can you explain to me what I actually paid for, and if I win, what will happen?
All right, so the Chili Bowl is like the biggest dirt racing event of the year. It's packed every single night, sold out. Over 80 million impressions kind of throughout that week. So, anyways, I was trying to figure out what I can do for one of the cars I own, and typically that sponsorship per se is like 30 to 50 grand to go do something like that. So I was like, there's always all these people from back in my hometown and stuff are like, hey, we want to be a part of your racing, but we only got a couple $100, and you just can't really do a whole lot, truthfully, for that, like as far as like giving them publicity on the cars. So I came up with this raffle idea. For $350, you sign up. You're going to get, Chase Briscoe Racing hat and t-shirt. You get like a signed hero card, all that stuff. Then we'll post about it on the Facebook page, who signs up. So your business will be able to get that notoriety. And then we'll have like an actual big banner and like display at the racetrack, like in our pit area. But then the Monday after Phoenix, I'm going to put all the names of whether it's just a person that signed up or, small business, whatever. And all those names are going to go in a hat. My son Brooks is going to draw out 6 names. So the first 5 will be like, like secondary sponsors. So they'll be like smaller, but they'll still be on the car. And then the grand prize winner is going to be the whole car. So like we have a design, team that can like design whatever you want. But yeah, like if you guys win it, right, like it could be just your face and largest face, massive on the side of this thing. Rubbin is racing. But yeah, we're going to, do a raffle essentially to who ends up getting it. So they're going to get this value, of being the primary sponsor essentially for $350. So yeah, I'm excited to see who gets drawn, because it could be, a company like you guys or a podcast. It could be some, little business, or it could be just some random fan, right, that wanted to sign up, and they could put pink and glitter and ponies down the side of this thing. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Is there anything you would veto?
I mean, there's some stipulations, right? Like,
yeah, I was about to say
that we cannot
like large. If we hit, we're gonna cook up the grossest paint scheme and just force Chase to drive it.
Gonna be now, yeah, and you won't be driving it. You're saying, right?
I'm not driving it, but the guy that's driving it, his name's Carter Sarf. He drives my sprint car and midget some for me. And yeah, he's like, he has a legitimate shot to go win the chili pole. Like, it's a car that's actually gonna compete and be up front. So yeah, he's gonna kill me if it ends up being something stupid on there. But yeah, it should be fun to see what people come up with. But yeah, go to chasebriscoestore.com and you can sign up for it. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun. You got like less than 2 weeks now to enter.
Yeah, and also respectfully, no one else enter. That way, Large and I can win, and we'll put whatever we come up with.
I can only imagine what you guys would put on.
I have no idea, but we'd get creative.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. My mind's going out, and I'm not even signed up yet. So, but you said chasebriscoe.com?
Yeah, go to chasebriscoe.com, and then you can click the store, and it's in the store, and you'll see it. It'll say Chili Bowl entry raffle.
So now we got 2 entries, Large.
Yeah,
so doubled your chances already.
Yeah, why not? Chase, let's look ahead and touch the money here. You win in Phoenix. Honestly, you win in Phoenix and you become a NASCAR Cup Series champion. What's the celebration for a guy like you? What's the celebration afterwards? A guy who has twins and another kid at home, and you're like, Marissa, I got to go out for a couple of days and just lose myself. Or is it something that you're going to be celebrating with your family? What do you see as this when you go to the barn and have your beer right afterwards in Phoenix? What's it going to look like after that?
Yeah, it'll definitely be a lot of family emphasis. Okay. They're all going out there. My parents are going, my in-laws are going. There's going to be just a ton of, family and friends going out there. So it'll be a ton of that, just making the moment with them. And, even a lot of people that I've, driven for in the past in sprint cars, or just people that have kind of supported me throughout my career. There's a lot of them that I know are flying out there. So honestly, I'll just spend it with them. And then first thing I'll be doing is, telling them, hey, what do I got to do to get on Rubbin is Racing? Make sure I can go on there with the boys and talk about it. But yeah, a lot of family stuff. Honestly, that'll be the biggest thing. And yeah, hopefully it happens and we can, figure out what it would look like after that.
Spider, do you have anything else for this gentleman before we let him go? Because I think he's going to be busy.
That's all I got. I'm reluctant to talk to any of these guys at this point because I don't want to say anything dumb and like jinx them or anything stupid. So yeah, Chase, we wish you the best. We appreciate you always giving us time. I felt like we spent a lot of time together this year, which has been great. A lot of time.
Yeah, we got close. I almost killed Spider. I still feel terrible about it.
Yeah, everybody almost kills Spider when they meet him. Everybody, Chase, as soon as you beat him, you want to kill him.
I almost took him out. I thought he was done for.
Chase was throwing out the first pitch for the Cubs game, or was it White Sox? One of the two.
Cubs, yeah. Cubs.
So we had him in the office here, and we were like trying to get his arm loose before he threw it out. So he threw like 5 or 6 absolute gems right down the middle, beautiful strikes. And then everyone's like, for the last pitch, they're like, "Oh, Spider, go stand in the box." So I get in the box.
I haven't thrown with anybody standing in the box in probably 15 years, by the way.
Boom. Just straight to the
right
head.
at the temple. Right at the temple.
Really? I didn't know that.
You took one. It's funny though. I went to the Chicago street race like the next day, and somehow the entire garage knew. Like Ryan Priest was like, "Oh, you feeling concussed? Like, what's up?" But no, Chase is the nicest guy on earth. He texted me like 100 times, profusely apologizing. I'm like, dude, don't worry about it.
I'll tell you what, you send us a big box of merch, and then you, since I know you're already going to sabotage your teammates, you probably don't mind fixing that raffle either. Get me and Spider up top, and it's all water under the bridge. Chase, just so you know, we were very upset when we found out that Martin Truex was retiring, and now we look back on it and seeing who stepped in the seat. They couldn't have made a better choice. We love the fact that you're being so successful, and you got to know that we're fucking rooting for you every time that you strap on. Strap on? That's fucking wild, isn't it? Yeah. That was.
You were doing good there, Large.
Do not cut that. Every time Chase Briscoe straps one on, I'm behind him like this. Yeah. Chase, good luck in Martinsville, and obviously good luck in Phoenix, brother.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Chase.
it.
Take care. Tell James Small he can strap on with us too anytime he wants.
Oh yeah.
All right, Spider. So that's Chase. He says he's not going to do. And by the way, thank you again, Chase Briscoe, for coming on. So that piece of content is large and small. I got to get his fucking crew chief, James Small, to do a weekly recap of what he did the week before with me. And it's just large and small. And then we'll somehow find out how to do a spider in there too. Maybe the spider will be crawling across something. I don't know what it is. But as much as I want to talk to Austin Hill, I also want to talk to Chase Briscoe's crew chief.
Right? I think that'd be a great segment. Weekly, 5-10 minutes of you guys just chopping it up, whatever topics you want. We'll sew that into the show. That could be great. Maybe next year we'll have to incorporate that.
Yeah, and it's adorable that he's like, well, it might not work because constantly be like beeping out the curses. This is Barstool. I mean, I'm on record calling Danica Patrick a cunt multiple times on this. I can't imagine I'm going to say anything a little bit more racy than that when I get in there with James Small. So I'm looking forward to that. Another thing that Chase had mentioned is how he's not going to really change the way he drives this weekend, but we're going to Martinsville, where at some point Martinsville is one of those tracks where you kind of got to move guys out of the way every now and again. And if you miss it by a couple of inches, you can ruin a guy's day by moving him out of the way very quickly. I think one of the things that he's missing is he can't move the wrong guy out of the way who might be one of those guys that then fucks him in Phoenix. That's why I think he's got to treat somebody with kid gloves and name whoever you think is a psychopath. Like maybe Chastain goes after him if he fucks with him in Martinsville. It's one of those things, like a nuance that I hope he pays attention to, because I'd hate to see this thing come to an end just because somebody gets a little bit retaliatory. Let's talk about Martinsville because it's coming up this weekend. Half-mile concrete oval, 12-degree bankings. NASCAR's Cup Series teams will pair a new left side Goodyear Racing Eagle tire with a familiar right side at Martinsville this weekend. You're going to hear a lot of people talk about tire wear and whatnot, including us when we make our picks in just a second. It's a triple header weekend, starting with trucks and the Slim Jim 200 tonight, Friday, starting at 6 p.m. Our guy, that eye doctor guy, Patrick Staropoli,
yes, sir.
Weeks ago, he's in the fucking field. He'll be in the 84 for Cook Racing. Butterbean Queen will be in the 7 for Spire, warming up for his first full season as a Ram driver for Kaulig in 26. And our guy Corey LaJoy will be in the 177 for Spire as well. So that's Friday night. And you go to Saturday, the Ritchie Brothers 250 with Xfinity is going to be starting at 7:30 p.m. on the CW. And again, if you're going to watch this, make sure you look in the crowd just to see a bunch of racing fans absolutely freezing their dicks off as it gets down into the mid-30s by the time this race is over. And then the Cup Series is the cherry on top of the Sunday, and the Cup Series is the Xfinity 500 starting at 2 p.m. on NBC. We're on we're on network TV again, boys. Number 6, Casey Mears is the only open driver competing. Denny Hamlin and Ryan Blaney lead all active NASCAR Cup Series drivers in postseason wins at Martinsville Speedway with 2 playoff victories each. Blaney winning the last 2. All 6 remaining playoff drivers not locked into the championship 4 are all previous Martinsville winners with a combined 8 wins there. So we're actually going to a race where I honestly feel that this is a jump ball. It's a real fucking jump ball, and it's created, say what you want about the playoff system, and we will not have the same one next season, but I don't know. I'm locked into this one. So catch the action on TV or feel the thrill in person. Secure your NASCAR seat today at NASCAR.com and feel the excitement. Get yourself down Martinsville to see this fucking thing, or make sure you tune in at 2 o'clock on Sunday on NBC. And with that, we got nothing to do. Oh, by the way, I had a great week last week. I hit 3 or 6 with some long odds because I had Briscoe winning. Remember, I took Bubba, Briscoe, and Busher. and then the parlay, I hit my second fucking parlay, and then I got somebody. I missed SVG on a top 10. He came in P11, and then I hit somebody else on a top. Was it Zane? I hit somebody else on a top 10. So I've been a hot hand. Everybody should fucking listen up to what we're about to drop on you right now. Picking the Tires is brought to you by DraftKings. All your favorite NBA players are back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting bet partner of the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season. Steph Curry drilling logo threes, Donovan Mitchell taking over, and Cade Cunningham leading the next wave. With more markets open for more of the game, DraftKings, the #1 sportsbook for live betting, is live when others aren't. Bet quarters, player props, scoring runs, and more, all while the action unfolds. New customers, bet just $5 and get 3 months of NBA League Pass, plus score $300 if your bet wins, paid to you in bonus bets. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use the code RUBBIN, RUBBIN. That's code RUBBIN. Bet $5 and get 3 months of League Pass, plus get $300 in bonus bets if your $5 bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. I got my card all set. If somebody else wants to go first, they can, but otherwise, I think my Kung Fu is going to be pretty strong right now.
Go ahead, Large.
All right, and I don't think we're going to have any dupes here. I'm taking Denny to win. Just with this tire management and whatnot, I could see a wily veteran like him, and plus he's pretty good at Martinsville. That's paying plus 500. Blaney is the favorite. I think Denny might be the second or third shortest odds on the board. So I'm going to take Denny to win. I'm going to take Tyler Reddick plus money for a top 10 finish. I don't see that too often. He's plus 135. So I'm going to take Reddick to win. Top 10 plus 135. Then I got a 3-pick parlay, and they're all head-to-heads. I have Kyle Larson over Christopher Bell, Joey Logano over Ryan Blaney, and William Byron over Chase Elliott. Just have to beat each other, 3 head-to-heads. So I parlayed the Kyle Larson, Joey Logano, William Byron, and for that, I'll be paid plus 650. So those are my 3 bets: a parlay, a winner, and a top 10. What do you guys got?
I love it. I'm going to go with Connor Zilisch in the Xfinity race. I believe he's plus 275 on Saturday. I love Connor Zilisch. He's been running really good, as you alluded to earlier in the show, Large. And then in terms of the cup level, there's 2 guys I'm looking at that have pretty fair odds. Both are plus 850, and those guys are William Byron and Joey Logano. If you look at driver averages here, Joey Logano is 3rd out of all active drivers with an average finish of 5.6 in his last 7 races here. In those 7 races, he's finished in the top 10 every single time, and in the top 5, 3 of those 7 times. I like Joey Logano here. I'm also intrigued by William Byron, who in 7 races here has 2 wins and 4 top 10s. Those guys are out on the outside looking in on the playoffs. They need a good run here. I expect both of them to be competitive. Those are my 3 picks for this weekend. Moonhead, what do you got?
So I'm actually going to start kind of wild in trucks and do a top 5 parlay with Majeski, Butterbean, and Daniel Hemrick. For Xfinity, I like Zilisch, but I also like Brandon Jones. His odds plus 1,600, but we've seen it time and time again, especially at the fall Martinsville Xfinity race. And then Cup, low-hanging fruit, Ryan Blaney outright. I also like Joey Logano, and then Josh Berry top 10 has been sticking out to me with the Penske speed, and then Wood Brothers has been fast in the fall Martinsville race quite a few times, and it's Josh Berry on a short track. So probably going to parlay some top 10 stuff, and Josh Berry will lead that charge for me.
I might sprinkle something on Amarola now that I'm thinking about it. But that's it for us this week for Rubbin' Is Racing. We obviously appreciate all you guys. We're coming towards the end of the season. I'm going to be live in the studio with Spider next week in Chicago. I can't wait to do that. So until next week, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on Rubbin' Is Racing.
Peace.